Now, the last time a governorship election was held in Kogi State, north-central Nigeria, the entire exercise came just short of replicating a shooting war scenario. Helicopters were airborne and a few reports spoke about actual aerial assaults on ground targets. As a result, there was a lot of disenfranchisement of voters, and at the end, the majority had their say, while the influential minority had their way. This November, Kogi State will be due for another governorship election, and this time the Social Democratic Party is expected to play a major part. We're now being joined by the party's deputy governorship candidate from Assam, Abenemi, to discuss the party's manifesto, its chances, what SDP intends to do differently if it wins, as well as the rising political violence in Kogi State. Good to have you with us, and welcome to Arise News, Mr. Abenemi.
Pleasure to be here.
Very good. Now, how popular is SDP in Kogi State, and how have you fared as an opposition party over time?
Well, the SDP in Kogi State is the party to beat as it stands today. So the worry can only be on the side of other contestants on the platform of other parties.
Mr. Abenemi, that's a very, bold, positive statement. But what are the metrics you're using to come to that conclusion, saying that you're the party to beat?
Sure, because they are familiar with our programs that we've placed on the table. Of course, and our campaigns all this while has been robust enough that we were only emphasizing what best we will do for the people to change the narrative of their destinies in Kogi State. And the people believe us because my principal, Alhaji Murtala Yakubu Ajaka, has the integrity that we can carry forward, so much so that the people believe in him. And they have confidence in what we have turned out to them as our targets to be met while in office.
Very good, Mr. Abenemi. But let's talk about specifics now. What would you do differently if voted into office? And what are you promising Kogi people? What are their immediate needs, you think?
There's general pervasive hunger emanating from lack of payment of salaries to workers, particularly, in this case, teachers and local government staffers. Our schools have become almost non-existent because the teachers get very paltry sums as a lot representing payment of what is supposed to be their salaries. They are paid very ridiculous fraction of what their salaries should be. And to that extent, the authorities have no moral justification to do an oversight on the delivery on the side of the teachers. As such, most parents have withdrawn their children and now patronize private schools. The take home of workers, Kogi State is a civil service state predominantly. And salaries have been issues of concern. To be able to even afford the private school, I think what they do now is to go to mission schools that are cheaper than the private, though they too constitute a private institution. But I think because of the religious factor involved in it, they are more understanding and they can cushion up what the fees would have provided for such schools. And that is where people go now to be able to educate their children. And so our focus is on ensuring the reinstatement of payment of regular salaries to teachers as well as local government workers in the state. That in itself would have resurrected the economy of the state. If we take it off from there, we now begin to go into the content of what is being taught to our children. There shall be a new narrative in that direction, as espoused in the manifesto of the party, led by my principal, Alhaji Murtala Yakubu, a.k.a. Muri. Looking at the economy of the state, well, it is hard to believe that anything that can bring profit or bring money to the pockets of people is there in Kogi State, because we have seen hundreds of persons who hitherto run commercial activities in their shops and their offices have shut down. We have seen people who run shops now ride Okada or ride Keke Napep. Just last week, one of the workers in Kogi State jumped into the River Niger. And I think from the facts gathered, he did so out of frustration. That is the kind of thing we find in Kogi State. We intend to turn Kogi State to an industrial hub and even an education hub in the sense that we have, by the time we are able to put back on track the primary education, secondary education is still not too bad, but we'll still do some touch-ups there by ensuring that teachers are trained and retrained and make sure that standards are maintained. Having said that, Kogi State, we have some tertiary institutions. We need to put them even to the level of the world standard. The minimum standard worldwide is what we'll settle for, because we need to empower our younger generation by ensuring that we provide a panacea for them to be able to study and study good, comparable to anywhere in the world. They are not just leaders of tomorrow, they are leaders of today. Fortunately, my principal belongs to that age grade group. He's a young man and full of energy, full of ideas, full of sympathy and empathy. That the principal motive of his coming to office, by the special grace of God, is to render service to people of Kogi State.
Well, thank you.
Kogi State is equally blessed with myriads of, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Abenemi. Of course, I'm sure you get an opportunity to elaborate even further, but can we just talk for a moment about what the Kogi State Commissioner of Police had to say regarding claims by your party stating that some key members of your party were targeted for arrest and detention ahead of the November 11 polls? They're saying that it's just an opportunity that you're trying to exploit, saying that you're trying to score some cheap political points via blackmail and bullying and arm twisting. I'm taking the words of the Kogi State Commissioner here. What do you have to say regarding the statement that was made by the Kogi State Commissioner of Police?
Well, we have received, we heard him, but we are not going to join issues with him. But I want to say this, and I crave their indulgence to listen and listen good, that we have intel information of the kind of brigandage that some other parties, I know there are some other parties that are equally in the same position as we are in the SDP, but we know that we are the endangered party because we are the one to beat. The police and other security agencies have to be alive to their duties. This time we are not ready to sit back and wait until threats are carried out and police just come to do cosmetic inspection and later come to make statements. We are putting them on their tools and we are supplying required information which they should give us gratitude that we are providing. For police to be able to be effective in at their duty, they needed to be supported by the general public, and in this case, political parties, giving them foreknowledge of what we know from grapevine, because we have our networks running down through the grassroots. And when we get such information and pass it on to them, they come out with very funny responses. I want to say this without sounding like a threat. I'm just trying to put them on their toes. The last election we had in Kogi State in 2019 for governorship, we had a situation that we were having attacks from the airspace. How on earth the taxpayers of this country, through the government, have procured aircraft, lights, and heavy ammunition to protect their lives and properties? Yet, on the day of election, rather than fly over to ensure that you do a surveillance, ensuring free and fair election taking place, then you begin to receive gunshots from the space. And we could boldly see that the mark of the police on the helicopter that was doing this. It's not a thing or a secret in Kogi State. We make bold to make a statement here that will not be tolerated. It will not be tolerated. And as such, police should begin to take note of such intelligent information that we are passing on to them to work on. We are not going to take excuses. Let me stop here and give you a practical example that is still very fresh in our memories. In 2019, there was this woman activist, a woman leader of the PDP, Salome, her name, Abu, I think, having mobilized her supporters to troop out to cast their votes at the election, at the poll. She returned to her home only to be rounded up and roasted in her property, her house. And it baffles us in Kogi State, near Nigeria, that the immediate past police commissioner, who was in Kogi, came out not too long ago, about 2 months ago, and claiming that one Oiko was the one that perpetrated that act. You will begin to ask that why did the police have to wait till then, from 2019, knowing quite right that it was that same Oiko that perpetrated that evil, as they claim. And nothing was done. He was never arrested. He was given right of passage. He was moving around the state without any hindrances, only for police to come on air, on national television, to tell us that Oiko was a criminal. And among such acts perpetrated by him was the roasting of Salome. We've been waiting patiently that the police should come out with their investigation. On the day they came out, they hit us below the belt by telling us that they got all the facts involved, yet there was no action. So this time around, we are poised to do that which we are expected to do for police by giving them knowledge of things that are about to happen, that we have gathered from the grassroots. We are not living in isolation. We are living in an environment that we have impacted on, or we are impacting on. Therefore, such information we have passed to police, they should go back to verify the authenticity of such information, rather than spend hard-earned money of Nigerians to reboot or rebuff what intel information we have passed on to them. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Abenemi. And still coming on the heels of what you've just alluded to right now, at some point, Kogi was praised for maintaining peace in times of terror insurgencies, but all that changed recently with the rising political violence recently. What are the narratives? You already highlighted some specifics, as it were. And how would an SDP government, if elected, tackle this menace of political violence?
Let me tell you, a hungry man is an angry man. Part of the reasons why you see that there are elements that allow themselves to be used as cannon fodder to perpetrate these unwarranted attacks that we see here as flashes at some point is derived from the poverty that pervades the society. I can tell you that on a good day, I challenge this day because of their facts. They try to prove facts, and I wish that they can do a run around Kogi State. And each day you go, any day you choose you choose to travel around the states unnoticed, you will see schools are shut down as if they are on holidays. Teachers are never at school. The local government, recently I traveled around the state, local government offices have become farm centers. You see people taking advantage that the office has not been used in a long time. They have cultivated maize, cassava and all that within the premises. So, of course, this is a way to survive. I think those ones have taken the same option to survival. There are those who cannot afford to take the same option. Those are the ones that are perpetrating all these criminalities all around. And I tell you, in Kogi State, recently, the Directorate of the SDP, had been attacked consecutively twice at the heart of Lokoja, in the heart of Lokoja, that is where the office is situated. Directly opposite that office is a filling station. And this office was put on fire on 2 different occasions within a span of 3 weeks. We sit here today, the police has not given us any response. We have given them names of the perpetrators. They have investigated, nothing has happened. Don't be surprised that by the special grace of Almighty God, when Alhaji Muritala Yakubu will be sworn in on the 27th of January 2024, police will now come out with records of investigation they have conducted. Look, policing is better done by community policing. We have given all that is required based on information and pictorial evidences that we got. Nothing is being done. It's only the grace of God and the fact that we are not being pushed to do the wrong thing. We will never get provoked. We will only be law-abiding citizens because our intents are very clear. We cannot begin to visit violence on the people we intend to govern. We would rather show sympathy and empathy to them than show sheer arrogance of display of power. Power is kept in the hands of government to show empathy and to ensure that, of course, we present ourselves as servants to the people. So I dare say that it was viral on social media. I addressed the press that those people who did it, we know where they are coming from, and we know them. We have given their names out. They are still moving as free people on the streets of Lokoja there and other places. And nothing is being done. Enough of this cosmetic reaction by the police. We want to see them go to do more practical and professional job so that they can win medals. And like I know in the past, police in Nigeria used to be first among all police outfits in Africa and, of course, the worldwide. That is the kind of thing I want to be replicated in Kogi State. For us, we would assume office, and my principal has always been, in the face of all the provocation, he has not ordered any retaliatory action against those who have provoked us. That is to show you that he's a humane person, and there will be decorum in the process of governance by the special grace of Almighty God when we are there beginning from the 27th of January 2024.
Well, Mr. Abenemi, we certainly hear the call that you
still have time.
Well, we certainly hear the call that you're making to the police.
We still have.
Pardon me, but
yeah.
So we certainly hear what you're saying regarding what your expectations are from law enforcement. But what are your expectations from the electoral body INEC, considering what's played out in the preceding elections and knowing that this is taking place not too long from now, November 11th, to be specific?
Sure. We have approximately 57 or thereabout days to go. And is already here. On our own part, we are ready. On the part of the Kogi people, they are ready to speak with their ballots, and they will make a statement on the 11th of November. And it will be the ushering of a new breath into the body politic of Kogi State. The INEC, well, so far, we are watching them from very close range. And there are things we have noticed over the years that does happen. Those ones will not be taken by us. We will reject them and we'll let the public know about it. For me, we have seen what they have done they did at Edo. We saw what happened at Osun. And we are looking up that they should do better this time around. Hopefully, we expect that they should live up to their words. And they have said just last week, the resident electoral commissioner said results shall be forwarded right from the polling units to the IREV. We'll be expecting nothing short of that from INEC. And one area of concern to us and to other political parties is the brigandage that surrounds collation centers after election. I believe that the security operatives are listening and listening good. INEC will have to partner with them to ensure that this time around, those who have no business there should not be there, irrespective of their position. We don't expect anybody to come and intimidate anybody there up until the results are finally pronounced and declared. And there are flashpoints where some people know that there's nothing that can be done about the outcome of elections. Voting that will be coming out from those places. We expect that INEC should be on the lookout. Wheresoever such disruptions take place, we expect that a rerun be immediately ordered. But for us, in SDP, we are good to come out clean even at the first ballot, meeting the minimum requirements to be so declared as winner of the election in Kogi State. So I seize this opportunity to put the INEC people on their toes. Professor Yakubu should keep his eyes on Kogi State because this is the last opportunity he has. His term is already drifting away, and his performance will be measured by the outcome of this particular out-of-season election. Ditto for the resident electoral commissioner, and of course, the ad hoc staffers of INEC that will be on the field. The SDP will not take lightly anything that goes close to perpetrating criminality at any point in time. We will do that which is needed to be done to right the wrong at any level. So on our part, we solicit from the general public that very recently some stakeholders from Kogi State visited the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, and pleaded for a peaceful election in Kogi State, knowing that Kogi State is an erratic state when it comes to unrest during elections. He gave his word and assured Asiwaju has been tested and trusted as a man of his words. He said he can guarantee that there will be a free and fair election in Kogi and all the other states, Bayelsa and ditto for Imo. And we are not expecting anything less than that. I think the people involved, the stakeholders involved in this election should take a cue and listen good to what the President of the Federal Republic has said. And it will be very, very sad to see anything other than what the President has so said. And he said it on international exposure on the international television. So we are good. We are home and dry.
All right.
And we are assured that nothing less than, yeah.
Okay, Mr. Abenemi, very good. Hopefully INEC will take note of your recommendations, as it were. So finally, how influential is SDP in Kogi State when it comes to grassroots democracy? And have you penetrated local governance lately in the state? Do you believe in, close contact with the people at the local government level, do you think?
We are very, very familiar with the people. And they enjoy what we are bringing to the table as our manifesto. They enjoy the personality we are parading. Alhaji Muritala Yakubu Ajaka is a man that is loved. Let me tell you, it is no longer secret that the SDP, our strategy had been to commence our mobilization and sensitization from the grassroots. It's a bottom-top approach we adopted. And you will believe with me, Arise will agree with me that in recent times that we have come to the top, we are coming from the bottom where the people are. And you see the organic response to wheresoever my principal appeared, to hold town hall meetings and interact with persons in respective local governments. The support is organic, both young and old, even those who are not by our electoral standards eligible are celebrating him on the streets. The aged ones are celebrating him on the streets. The young elements who are of voting age are thankful to God for bringing him at this particular hour that such a person is needed to steer the ship of governance in Kogi State. And for me, I've been I'm complementing my principal. And for the last 40 years, I've been in the political space of Kogi State. I've been a grassroots man. I started my political career from being a council chairman. I was the chairman of Lokoja local government 26 years ago. Before then, we have been involved, but I got to the level of being elected to office 26 years ago or thereabout. And since then, I've been with my people. I've been rendering services. We have been giving philanthropic support to our people in different spheres of life. And we have untainted record of service. Wheresoever we have performed, you go back there, you won't find any stain. So the people are ready, and we are ready to go. The time starts now, I believe, for SDP to emerge as the new direction in Kogi State.
Well, the time starts now for SDP, and we're definitely out of time for now. Honorable Sam Abenemi, Kogi State SDP Deputy Gubernatorial Candidate, we'd like to say thank you for your time, and we wish you well ahead of the November 11th polls in Kogi State.